Hello, welcome back once again here for my travels. And today we're going to the fifth country that I've been to in alphabetical order, which is like you had seen in the last video if you are looking into that, Armenia. So, Armenia was the second time that I've been in the Caucasus region. I had been already in Georgia at the time, or a few years later. And then I was checking exactly how I came to be there in Yerevan. And it was actually, as you can see here in my travel schedules, that I flew from Frankfurt to Moldova, uh, Chisinau, and then from Chisinau to Yerevan through Moscow. Um, and the reason is this should be a relatively straightforward flight. So from a direct connect, if there was a direct connection, I think now as it says here, there's probably a direct connection, but at the time there wasn't. And the only way to go around it was through, I believe, either through Istanbul or through Moscow. And for some reason, we had chosen Moscow. And although, as I said, this is really a straightforward trip, a direct line, due to the conflict already, the first war in the Ukraine, Aeroflot could not fly over the Ukraine in 2018. The invasion, this one that is happening at the moment, was not yet there, but they were. We needed to go here completely around Poland like that and then back. So this took a trip that could have taken 2.5 to 3 hours, took almost a whole day to reach Yerevan. Once we arrived there, and the reason why we were doing Moldova and Armenia at the same time is because there was we were investigating some relations between two parties located in these two countries. We stayed there, or I stayed there for 3 days. I mean, Armenia is here in the Caucasus region. It borders Iran, it borders Georgia, also Azerbaijan here, and of course, Turkey. There are some conflicts ongoing with some autonomous regions, but of course, the only place that I've been to was Yerevan, and I stayed at the time in the Armenia Marriott Hotel in Yerevan, right in the center square. So more central than this would not have been possible, and this was a good thing because there were a lot of places around that I could go to, and we'll go into that on the photos because for this one I do have some photos. And I mean, just for you to know, one of my biggest hobbies is banknotes collection, and I was missing some banknotes from Armenia. And one thing that I try to do in a lot of the countries is try to understand if they have the central bank there, so that I can exchange for the well, basically exchange at the exchange rate for brand new banknotes. And here I was able to get the 100,000, the 50,000 drums, which are not so hard to find, but here I could get them at exchange rate. And I believe that the bank was somewhere here on the street, so it was pretty close. And they also had a numismatic shop somewhere around this area. So the Armenia Marriott Hotel in Yerevan was quite good. I remember that the breakfast was here overlooking the square. It doesn't look like this, to be honest, and I don't remember anymore if the rooms were like that. I don't even remember if there was a swimming pool. But in the middle of the summer, I didn't use the swimming pool, that I'm certain. But there was this place where you could take a coffee, etc., which was pretty good. I remember this being a bit more old fashioned, but maybe these are the new photos and they just redone the hotel in the meantime. Anyway, compliance related on the activity I cannot talk about, but there will be a funny story. So I reserved one of the days to just walk around the city and see some things. Here, I don't even remember some of the things. I don't remember. I just remember that I walked. I made a map, um, but unfortunately, I didn't put exactly what each thing was here and there, and that's a pity. um, they had a lot of churches, etc. They also have this alphabet, which I believe is even different than Georgian, so it's gibberish to me. Um, yeah, I remember going here. You see the quality of my photos, and my wife always complains that I always have the finger on top of the camera. Yeah, and there were a lot of churches, old churches, or at least rebuilt. Some of them a bit similar to what you see in Georgia. And this was a restaurant that I went twice, was very close to the hotel, and they had also like a mixture of Georgian and Turkish food. It was pretty good. Here is where the funny story is. So on this day, I went to visit. This is a monument against the genocide of the Turks against the Armenian people. This is on the top of a big hill there, not Mount Arat, but another hill. And there is a museum that I have. I don't think I made any photos. Probably could not do the photos, but there's this part here which is interesting, which is the monument itself. Here's actually a video of the view out of this hill. The region is very there's a lot of mountains. It's not the most flat part of the world, and Armenia was, and I think it's still not very touristic. So there was little. Also, my videos, as you can see, are pretty bad. This was inside um, this structure, and then there was the museum down. Here is the Ararat, which is cognac that they do there in Armenia, and I went to visit the factory. But before that, I remember that I took, not sure if it was an Uber, I think it was an Uber already, from the hotel to this monument um, there in the hill. And once I wanted to get out of there, there were basically no Ubers available. So I had to take one of the two cabs that was waiting for me. So I sit in the first, like next to the driver, and instead of a normal taximeter, he had some iPad that had a taximeter. At a certain time, I start seeing that the taximeter is moving super, super, super quick, and as I say, stop the car and give the guy like a bill of 5,000 drams, I think, which was not even what was in the taximeter. And I said somewhere like "fuck you" or something, and threatened to call the police. And then he took me to this Ararat. It was not far away, but there were taxis are always a big issue, airports, etc. For me, to be honest, the best solutions for taxis is out of all places in Mexico City or so, that you go to a counter, you say where you want to go, and there's like many counters with different taxi companies, and you tell them what district in Mexico City you are going to, and the price is fixed. You already pay there, and then you bring this receipt to the taxi line, and there's no other interaction in terms of pricing. You already paid, and he takes you there. And Mexico is one country that I've been, I don't know, maybe 20 times, and it's always a place that nothing bad happens, at least to me. Then, of course, you can use Uber nowadays, but from the airport, even this is even even better. Even now, I mean, a few days ago or not long ago, still this year, I was in Slovenia, and even the taxis there in a country from the European Union, or even in Portugal, they try to trick you. Um, but here was not an airport taxi; it was in the street taxi in a country that has barely any tourism. So yeah. So in this Ararat thing, we went to do a tour. I went to do a tour. There's the this is some old bottled Ararat from 1908. The museum was quite interesting, but I think I seen better. But it was for a country like Armenia, it was interesting in the tour because these were composed of tours, mostly with Russian people. Um, at this time, were was pretty packed, but the tour was in English that I remember. And then you went down to see where they bottle it, etc. And of course, there is a tasting or a first tasting still in this area, and then the second tasting again. Beautiful photo. Um, and then a tasting where you eat some stuff with the cognac or with the brandy, including some chocolate, some fruits, etc. So, and there was also this water. So actually, pretty interesting experience. Um, Last but not the least, this was actually the central square, not as beautiful as you've seen there from the photos of official photos of the hotel. This is the square, and the hotel is actually this building here. That was the Marriott, if I recall, or no, it's this building here is the Marriott, as you can see here. Um, yeah, and that was it for the trip to Armenia. And next flight back, uh, went back home, and that was it. I remember this audit was quite a big issue, but I cannot really tell much about it. But it has to do, of course, with relations of the people that became small oligarchs in these nations with the fall of the Soviet Union, and of course they believed they could do anything. So that was it for next episode. We'll go to the sixth country. That will be, although the country is big, I only been to one city in that country, and only once. So it's gonna be the next one is gonna be Australia. Thank you so much. If you watch this, if you have any questions or suggestions, you just let me know. Bye bye. See you next time.